Okay, I'll discuss this. See, few numericals of atoms we have to do because we didn't do any numerical. Then 3 questions we'll be doing. After that, we'll start with nuclei. Nuclei is a very, very short chapter. So this says that the ground state energy of hydrogen is given, and this is minus 13.6. So we already know this. Total energy, it is saying, calculate the first part. It is saying, what is the kinetic energy of the electron in the second excited state? So for second excited state, what is N equal to? Second excited state. No, not 2.
3.
Yes. Yes, how much, Rishita? Go,
Ma'am,
Khadija.
3.
3. It will be 3. Second excited state. See, excited states are always one lesser. Okay. So
Oh,
yeah, Taha, the correction is fine now. N is equal to 3. So see, total energy for the third one, minus 13.6 by N square. So this will be minus 13.6 by 3 whole square. So I told you to remember till I think the 5th or 6th one, right? So third is minus 1.51 electron volt. Now, question was to calculate the kinetic energy. So when you are calculating the kinetic energy is just negative of the total energy. So it will be minus of minus 1.5. So it will be plus 1.5 electron volt. Second part says, what is the potential energy of an electron in the third excited state? Class, for the third excited state, what is N's value? Yes, Taha, right. It is 4. See, excited state is always lesser. The number of the state will be one higher to it. Correct, Taha. So total energy for the fourth will be minus 13.6 by 4 whole square. That is minus 0.85 electron volt. See, potential energy is double of the total energy. Okay, so just multiply this 2 with minus 0.85. Whatever you will get, that will be the answer for the potential energy. Now, the third part says, if the electron jumps to the ground state from the third excited state. See, third excited state, just now only you all have told that the third excited state is 4. What is the ground state? Yes, Taha, right, 1. Others also, please be very clear with the number of state, because despite learning the formula, you'll not be able to answer anything then. Yeah, so it means it is coming. What is the final state now? It is saying 1. It is coming back to 1. That is the final state. What was, or what would have been the initial state? The third excited state, that is 4. So NF and NI, identification of this is very important. Once you are able to identify N, then you can just put it into the formula. See, 1 by lambda is equal to Rydberg's constant, 1 by N final square minus 1 by N initial square. So look, 1 by lambda, this is 10 to the power 7. 1 by 1 minus 1 by 16. So 1 by lambda will be 10 to the power 7 into 15 by 16. So from here, you can calculate lambda. This is 16 by 15 into 10 to the power 7, this much of meters. This you can calculate and check. So is the first question clear to all of you?
Yes,
Yes? Yes. Write the solution. Then 2 more questions we'll discuss. Okay, see, in this question, this is saying the first part, this is the line diagram given to you. The question is saying you have to find out the transition that results in the wavelength of 496 nanometers. Firstly, class, you have the 4 shells present. N is equal to 1, 2, 3, and 4. And these are the various transitions 1, 2, 3, 4th, 5th, and 6th. Now see, what is the first energy transition corresponding to? Best way is that to solve this question, no. See, the question is asking, out of all the transitions, whatever is the energy difference, which energy difference is equal, will give you a wavelength of this. So firstly, class, we can at least calculate. See, wavelength is given as 496. E is equal to hc by lambda. So h is 6.67 into 10 to the power minus 12. Okay, a minus 34. Speed of light is 3 into 10 to the power 8 meter per second. Wavelength is 496 into 10 to the power minus 9 because I have to convert it into meters. And I am dividing it by 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 19. So I'll get the answer in electron volt. Now, let's see what all energies are there. See, n is equal to 1 means minus 13.6 electron volt. N is equal to 2 means minus 3.4 electron volt. N is equal to 3 means minus 1.51 electron volt. N is equal to 4 means minus 0.85 electron volt. Now, for all these transitions, calculate the energy difference. Like, look at the first transition. This is from 4th to 3rd, right? From here to here means we'll take the energy difference here. Then look at the second one. The energy difference is from 4th to 2nd. So 4th and 2nd, I'll take the differences between these two. 3rd to 1st, sorry, 4th to 1st here for the 3rd transition. So I'll take the difference between this and this. Likewise, I'll have all the transitions with me. I'll have all the transitions energy with me. I'll match which one is corresponding with my this value. Suppose this is, let's say, 5 electron volt. Just a random number I'm taking. This is not 5. Let's say this is 5 electron volt. And suppose here I'm taking all the differences, whatever differences are mentioned between 3 and 2, between 3 and 1, between 2 and 1, and all I have taken. Suppose 4 to 3, this is also 5 electron volt. So my answer will be the first transition. Have you understood the method for this question? Okay, others?
Yes.
Khadija, you are understanding?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Last says, which transition corresponds to the emission of the radiation of maximum wavelength? C class, for the second part, energy is inversely proportional to wavelength. Maximum wavelength means minimum energy. You have all the energy differences here. See, whichever will be the least one will be the answer to this. Okay, so this is how the energy level diagram questions are dealt. We'll do lots of other questions also in the revision classes. One more question we'll do it today. Write it first, the solution part quickly. Then we'll do that question and start with nuclei. Done, class? Can we do the question? Okay. This next question says that which level of lithium has the same energy as ground state of hydrogen? Means the formula of energy is minus 13.6 Z square by N square electron volt. This is saying which this energy of lithium is exactly the same as that of hydrogen. Means the energy of lithium is same as that of hydrogen. Let me write down the formula. So minus 13.6 into Z for lithium. See, hydrogen is 1, helium is 2, lithium is 3. So just refer to the periodic table for your atoms and nuclei. So this is 9, right? Z square by N square is equal to, for hydrogen, minus 13.6 into Z is 1 by N is ground state. Means what should I write here? Ground state means 1. Yes, Taha, very good. So that will be 1 square. So this gets cancelled. N square is equal to 9. N is equal to 3. Means the third level of lithium will have the same energy as first level of hydrogen. Okay. Write down this question. Text me done, all of you. Then I'll start with nuclei. Okay, all of you have completed? Others also apart from Taha, written? Khadija, Rishita. Okay, Khadija has done. Rishita, Siddiqa, written? Okay. Let me start with nucleus. So nuclei is a very short chapter. Basically, till now, we were studying about the nucleus, about the atom. So atom, when we were talking about the atom, the entire atom was present, and in the chapter atoms we talked about the Rutherford experiments, and we were told that in the Rutherford experiment there was a conclusion that all of these positive charges are located centrally in a small core structure that is called as the nucleus. So in the previous chapter, we were talking completely about the whole atom. Now in this chapter, we'll be just focusing on the properties of this nucleus. Many things are deleted from your syllabus. Don't learn all these notes that are present. I'll tell you which part from these notes you have to do and which you don't. Many things are not there now. These notes are older notes that have extra portion. Now, when we're talking about the nucleus is basically composed of the nucleons. By nucleons, we mean the positive protons and the neutral neutrons. Collectively, protons and neutrons are called as the nucleons. So your nucleus is made up of nucleons. This is the whole concept of it. Now, number of protons is called the atomic number, which is represented by the symbol Z. And mass number means the total number of protons and neutrons. Basically, the mass of the nucleons is called as the mass number, which is represented by A. So Z and A, entire nuclei formula and the theory part is based upon this. Now, number of protons is Z. Number of electrons is also Z. Electronic charges are the same. And number are also same because we are talking about the electrically neutral atom, right? Number of nucleons will be A because it is number of protons plus number of neutrons. This we have discussed. Now, see, total number of nucleons is A, right? Protons plus neutrons. Protons is Z. Neutrons we don't know. So what neutrons be equal to? A minus Z. That is what is written here, A minus Z. Okay, now, how an atom is represented. So chemically, this is how an atom is represented. You have the mass number present here. This is the mass number. This is the atomic number. So this is the mass number and this is the atomic number. Atomic number means the number of protons. Now, few structures are there which you studied in your chemistry already, like isotopes. You know what are isotopes? They have the same atomic number, but different mass number. Mass numbers are different, like hydrogen. See, 111 is the mass number, is the atomic number for each, but the mass numbers are different. 1, 2, 3, protium, deuterium, tritium, all these isotopes of hydrogen. Then we have the concept of isobars. Now, isobars means they have this, just the opposite of it. The lower part, see, always remember whenever the atom is written, neutral atom is written, the lower left corner represents the atomic number and the upper right corner represents the mass number. So when we have the same A means the mass number is the same in all of these. Like look at this example of chlorine and sulfur. This is 37, this is 37. So in your chemistry, you must have already studied this also. Right, so just brush up your periodic table for the questions of atoms and nucleus, just for the mass number and the atomic number. You should just remember that order of hydrogen, helium, lithium and all, okay? Then different Z, see 17, 16. Sulfur comes first, after that chlorine comes. Argon and calcium, see 40, 40, but 20 and 18. So the atomic numbers are different. So these are isobars. Then you have isotones. Isotones are where neutrons number is same. So see, chlorine and potassium, they are completely different elements, different A, different Z. But see, if I take A minus Z here and I take A minus Z here, means 37 minus 17, that will be 20. And 39 minus 19 will be 20. So same value of number of neutrons means these are isotones. And isomers, you must have done it in your organic chemistry. You have it in your class 12th only. So you know the concept of isomers. They have the same A, same Z, everything is same, but orientation is different. So they have different energies. So those are isomers. Now, coming to the atomic masses. Mass of electron, mass of proton, mass of neutron. Try to remember these three, no rounding off here. Up to all the decimal places which are mentioned here, you have to remember. If you round it off, your answer will be 0 or 1. That's it. Because when you will round, most of the time the answer will be 0 on multiplication. So here in this chapter of nuclei, you cannot round off any value. You don't involve the significant figures and rounding off and all. No, whatever is there, learn it as it is. These three remember, because in few questions I've seen that these values are not given, but they are utilized, especially mass of proton. So what you can do, remember these, but yeah, few questions have these listed also. So to be on the safer side, just remember the values, especially mass of proton and mass of neutron. These two are involved. Okay. These are for the hydrogen. So for different elements, it will be given. Okay. Coming to the nuclear size. Now, remember the volume of the nucleus. The volume of the nucleus is directly proportional to one thing. See, when we are talking about the volume involves one concept, that is the radius, right? So when I say volume of nucleus, it means I'm focusing on the radius. It is directly proportional to the mass number. So volume of the nucleus is 4/3 pi r cube is directly proportional to A. Now 4/3 pi is itself a constant, means r cube is directly proportional to A. Means r is directly proportional to A to the power 1/3. Now here a constant comes equal to, the constant is r naught, A to the power 1/3. See, this is the formula. R is equal to R naught A to the power 1/3. Understand what is it? See, R is the radius of the nucleus. I wrote now volume of the nucleus. So R is the radius of the nucleus. R naught is a constant that comes here. That is 1.2 into 10 to the power minus 15 meters, which is written as 1.2 Fermi meters also. So if you see R naught and you want to use this in the formula, use this. Otherwise, sometimes R naught's value is also given, which may be slightly different from this. So you can put that depending upon the question. But the value of this constant is 1.2 Fermi meters. So if you are not converting into meters, so be careful, your answer will be in Fermi meters. That can also be left. But if the question is demanding the answer to be in SI unit, then put 10 to the power minus 15. Remember this conversion, that 1 Fermi meter is 10 to the power minus 15 meters. This conversion, please remember. Coming to A is the mass number. A is the mass number. Okay, now coming to your notes, the notes that I have sent, though I have told all of you to take the printout, so that will be easier for you to remember. Just let us discuss few things before we come to the density part. So from here, you don't have to do anything. That is your chemistry part. Basically, neutron is a neutral particle which has a mass almost equal to that of proton, but not exactly equal to that of proton. And it is electrically neutral, and it was discovered by Chadwick. This is what you have to remember here. That's all. This part of AMU is from your chemistry, that what is 1 AMU equal to, atomic mass unit, 1/12th of the mass of carbon. Okay, so when this was equated with Avogadro's number and everything, we got the value of 1 AMU as 1.66 into 10 to the power minus 27 kgs. So if conversion is needed, you can use this. These three values I have told you. So remember these values. Okay, this also we discussed. The mass of the number of neutrons, atomic number of protons. So mass number will be A is equal to Z plus N. So A minus Z is equal to N. Isotopes, isotones, and isobars, just mention one line here. When I'll show the one note part, just mention isomers also here, isomers, because that is mentioned in your textbook. Then E is equal to mc square we have been doing. We did it in dual nature also. We did it in atoms also. Now again, E is equal to mc square. That is, mass will be given, energy will be calculated. Just remember that 1 AMU, if it is given, you have to convert it into kg. Multiply 1.67 into 10 to the power minus 27. That will give you your answer. So this we will come back when we will be discussing binding energy. Now see here, for the size of nucleus, now directly it is written. So some steps are missing. So till here, whatever things I have told you, just add them. Add that isomer line and add this part, what we have discussed. Then I'll come to the density of the nucleus. Okay, class. So I think the rest of the things are there in the notes. This much you must have added. Now coming to the nuclear density part. So nuclear density is also very important. Nuclear density and the radius. The numericals are from this. Then your questions come from mass defect. From binding energy is just a theoretical part that comes to draw the graph and to write the observations of the graph. So these are the questions that are possible from nuclei. The calculation of radii, questions based on nuclear density. Yeah, the questions based on the energy equivalence, that is E is equal to mc square. Then your questions on binding energy or binding energy per nucleon, basically the mass defect questions. That's it. And from the theoretical part, the graph can come. The binding energy per nucleon versus the nucleon graph, that can come. So nuclear density is, see, density is always mass by volume. So here also nuclear density will be mass of nucleus by volume of nucleus. So see, m is taken as the average value of mass of a nucleon. Like the mass of the nucleon is taken as m. Okay, this is the mass of the nucleon, the nucleus. Now, this is the average mass that is taken. Now, how many nucleons are present? That is A. So, Ma by volume is 4 by 3 pi r cube. So, this 3 will go up, 3 Ma by 4 pi. Now, R we have calculated. R is R naught A to the power 1 by 3. So, what will R cube be? R naught cube A, because this 1 by 3 will be cancelled with the power 3 of the cube. So, I'll put the value of R cube as R naught cube into A. A gets cancelled. C class, what are we left with? 3 into m by 4 pi r naught whole cube. Class, this is 3 is a constant term. Mass, average mass of nucleon 1.67 into 10 to the power minus 27. That is a constant term. 4 is a constant term. Pi is 3.14. R naught is 1.2. Every term is constant. See, if I put 3 into 1.66 into 10 to the power minus 27 divided by 4 into 3.14 into R naught is 1.2 into 10 to the power minus 15 whole cube, right? All these are constant terms. So firstly, this shows that density will always remain constant for every nucleus because it is independent of the mass number. If you are taking iron, if you're taking germanium, if you're taking cobalt, if you're taking nickel, lithium, anything, their nucleus will have the same density because it is not the density whenever you will calculate for any element will run into this only. And this value for density of the nucleus is 2.3 into 10 to the power 17 kg per meter cube. So what is this? This is like your universal constant. It is universally constant because this is independent of the mass of the protonic level. Nothing is coming. If I tell you calculate the nuclear density for, let's say, hydrogen atom, you will write these points only, right? This. And if I say calculate the nuclear density for boron, you will put this. So for any element, this will come. So nuclear density is constant. So this part is important. We have the questions. So see in your notes also, no, that the notes that I have shared with you. So size of nucleus done, the density part is here. Look, here is the density part. So this is 2.97 into 10 to the power 17. 2.3 is also written sometimes. 2.97 is also there. So just follow 2.3, your answer will be done. 2.3, 2.97 is also sometimes written in some books. So 3 is never written. So this is the value of the constant and this is it. 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 27. This is also written as 1.67 also in some books. So where whatever you will calculate, almost you will get the answer like this: 2.6, 2.7, 2.9, like this. So one more thing, you can just add on the points for the density. Okay, make it 2.97 only, because this is the higher value. It will then, it won't clash with the notes then. 2.9 only. Now, one thing, just add these points in the notes, those who have printed them, and those who haven't, added somewhere, whatever points are there, because everything is not written in the notes. Just write about nuclear density, then we'll discuss the numericals based on this. Okay, class. Now let's discuss the questions. So the first question says that calculate the radius of germanium. R naught's value is given. So see, like in this question, 1.1 Fermi meters is given. So see, R is equal to R naught a to the power 1 by 3. So R is equal to R naught is 1.1. A is given. See, mass number is given as 70. So this is 70 to the power 1 by 3. All right, so R will be equal to 1.1 into, so this is around 4.12. Okay, so this you have to check. Whatever is the answer will be in the Fermi, will be in Fermi meters. So class, usually the values that are given, they are in the form of 27, 64, like this, the cube roots, usually the cube roots are mentioned. Okay. So write down this question first, then I'll the answer will be around 4.53 Fermi meters. So write down this question, then the next one I'll discuss. Write it. Done. Rishita and Khadija have also written.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Coming to the next question, this says express 16 milligrams mass into equivalent energy. So see, mass is given to you as 16 milligrams, means 16 into 10 to the power minus 3 kg. And you have to find out the energy. So straight away, we are going to use the formula. E is equal to mc square. So E will be mass is 16 into 10 to the power minus 3. C square means the speed of light. That is 3 into 10 to the power 8 whole square. So this will be 9 into 16, 144 into 10 to the power 13 joules. Okay, so this will be the energy. Please write this question also. Okay, class, the next question. This says that assuming protons and neutrons have equal masses, how many times the nuclear matter is denser than water? This basically means nuclear matter's density is there, water's density is there. So whatever is the density of the nucleus and whatever is the density of water, you have to compare that. And you have to see how much nuclear matter is denser than water. Means you have to take the ratio and see how much times it is. So see, for the nuclear matter, the density is fixed 2.96 into 10 to the power 17 kg per meter, or 2.97 into 10 to the power 17 kg per meter cube. Density of water is also fixed, that is 1000 kg per meter cube. So when you take the ratio of the nucleus by the density of water, this will be 2.96 into 10 to the power 17 by 10 to the power 3. So this will be 2.96 into 10 to the power 14. This much. So density of nucleus is this much times the density of water. Write down this question also. This is clear, this question to everyone. Clear or not? Okay, clear to Taha. Taha is very responsive in the class. Other students also keep on responding. Rishita, you're there in the class. Khadija is there. Now, the last question says, nuclear mass of iron is given as 55.85 AMU. You have to calculate its nuclear density. Can anyone answer by just reading this question? That what should be the nuclear density? Nuclear mass is given as 55.85 AMU. It's iron. 56 is the mass number and 26 is the atomic number. How to calculate its nuclear density? Can anyone brief? Yes, answer. How should we do this question? Yeah, Rishita, answer. At least tell the method, anyone. Just tell the first step at least. I'll solve the rest of it. At least tell the first step. Mass is given. How to calculate the nuclear density? Yeah, Taha, what do you think? How should we proceed with the question? Rishita, you there in the class? Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Yeah, Taha, anything that you think will work, the first step? Rishita, you also think meanwhile. Khadija, you too. M by V for the density. Class, I said it so many times, the nuclear density is independent of the mass. No, not M by V or anything. It is independent of the mass number or anything. Nuclear density for iron, I gave you the example also that iron, germanium, nickel, cobalt, lithium, you take anything. Nucleus's density we are talking. We're not talking about the density of the atom. Nuclear density, I told you, in any case it will come constant. So whatever is it, the density of the nucleus will be the same. That is this 2.3 into 10 to the power 17. Yeah, the value of density only. Mass by volume, it won't be. Mass by volume you have already used. This constant you have, no? The value of density of the nucleus has been asked, nuclear density. It's universal constant. So it will always be this. Mass by volume was the first step there in the derivation. We have already used that. For this numerical, it is independent. In 1 mark questions, this can come. Now it's clear, Rishita?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Write this question, then we have mass defect left. Yes, class, let's start with the mass defect now. So see, for calculation of mass defect, this is the formula. So for the understanding the formula, just do it in 3 steps. First step is calculate the total mass of protons. See, Z is the total number of protons. MP is the mass of a proton. So if you want to calculate the total mass of protons, you have to multiply the number of protons with each mass. Each is mass. So ZMP will be the total mass of all the protons that are present. Now, what are the number of neutrons? In the initial part of the class only we saw that it is A minus Z, the number of neutrons, right? So if it is A minus Z, this is the number of neutrons. So A minus Z into Mn, that is the mass of the neutron, will give the total mass of it. Like 5 protons are there, so it will be 5 MP. 6 protons are there, so 6 times the mass of a single proton. So like this, you have the total mass of protons available, total mass of neutrons available. Add them first. Okay, add them. Whatever you will get, subtract it from the total mass of nucleus. This will be given to you in the question. See, ZMP plus A minus ZMN. You are adding the total nucleons first, and then you are subtracting with the total mass available. Now, this is the mass defect. For calculation of binding energy, what is this mass defect basically? See, the total nucleons are present because of release of energy. They have the excess mass present, and this is was the original mass of nucleus. So this extra mass that is coming is basically the mass defect. And binding energy is basically your nucleus was intact. Okay, this nucleus was intact with the help of certain amount of energies. Now, if the nucleus breaks into parts, this energy also has to be released, which was earlier binding the electron, right? Not the electron, the nucleus. So this is called as the binding energy. So the calculation of which is take the mass defect, multiply it with C square. Okay, this is the binding energy, multiply it with C square. This is binding energy. All these things are written in the notes. So look here. Binding energy's formula will then be, see, if I put the value of the mass defect, ZMP plus A minus ZMN minus Mn. This is the mass defect multiplied to C square. And sometimes the questions are asked binding energy per nucleon. Means for every nucleon, that is proton and neutron set, what is the binding energy for each of them? If total is this, for each of them, what is it? That is the binding energy per nucleon. So binding energy per nucleon is basically ZMP, A minus ZMN minus Mn by A. Basically the mass defect into C square. Now class, sometimes you have to write your answer in joules, but most of the time you can leave your answer in electron volt. So the best way to solve binding energy questions is calculate the mass defect and multiply it with 931 mega electron volt. Okay, this is already the set calculated value for binding energy. And if you are further asked to calculate the binding energy for a nucleon, per nucleon, so use this delta M into 931 mega electron volt by the nucleon. So this is the best way you can use this. Now, before we come to the numerical of it, let us see what all things are there written in the notes. Okay, so see this, you have the gravitational force from your class 11th. So when you put all the values to the gravitational force that is present, you get the value as 1.86 into 10 to the power minus 64. So if you remember G m1 m2 by r square, this was the formula in your class 11th. Okay, so now you don't have much use of it, but you have the electrostatic force present. So electrostatic force, you know, so between two protons, the gravitational force was calculated, the electrostatic force was calculated, and their ratio was taken. So it was proven that the electric force is 10 to the power 36 times the gravitational force. This value I have told you in your first class also when we were discussing the electrostatic forces. So this tells what? The electrostatic repulsion between two protons is 10 to the power 36 times the gravitational attraction. Okay? This is what it shows. Now, it can't be stable. This is written, this means that Coulombic repulsive force and gravitational attractive forces are present inside the nucleus. So this is it. And this is the same ratio. Yeah, so by which we can conclude some of the properties of the nuclear forces. Like they are 10 to the power 38 times as strong as the gravitational forces. They're the strongest forces in nature. They are short range forces. They are strongly attractive. And they are charge independent. They are spin dependent. Spin dependent means the electronic spin, minus half and plus half. Okay, they are non-central forces like your Coulombic forces, electrostatic forces. These are central forces. They act on the line joining the centers of the two charges. These are non-central. They have a space around them where the forces have the properties of repulsion. Now, potential energies graph is very easy. Basically, this graph says, see, potential energy had the maximum positive value here. Then it decreases, it becomes zero here. Then it decreases further, and reaches a negative point. This is the negative part. This is the highest stability or the most attractive part of the potential energy. Because more it is negative, more is the attractive part. For potential energy, जितना negative होगा उतना ज़्यादा attraction होगा, और जितना ही कम negative होगा means however it is inclined towards positive, how much it is inclined towards positive, it is towards repulsive nature. For potential energy, negative part is better. So here there's a peak obtained at 0.8 Fermi meter. This distance is 0.8 Fermi meters. See, it's written, and then it decreases. This is what is the graph all about. It's written, this we have discussed, binding energy and everything. Now, this is the last part, binding energy for the graph. For the nuclear stability, the graph. Class, after this, don't do anything from the notes. It is given in the notes, it is present in the notes, but these are not not part of your syllabus. So do everything till this only. Now, what is this binding energy curve? It basically is the plotting between the binding energy of a nucleon and mass number. So sort of this graph was obtained. Okay, see, it's not a continuous graph. There's not a complete continuous graph. There are dips and kinks in between. So what was observed here? The two things are important here. One is that you can see for all those who are having less than 30, like see, till 32 or even less than 30 till here, and before beyond 130, these in between this segment, this part and this part, this is relatively a constant slope. See, it's completely not a straight line, but almost it is constant. And the second important point is that peak is observed at iron 56. This is the graph will come as it is. Write the graph and write whatever points are mentioned below it. That's it, is what is important. Okay, so binding energy per nucleon is practically constant. It is independent of atomic number for nuclei of middle mass number. This I told you, between 30 to 170. And peak is for 56. Okay, and it is lower for light and heavy. Means whatever is beyond this, means these, and whatever is beyond these, 170 plus 170, like these, 184, 197, 238, like this. And less than 30, like 16, 12, 14, 4, 6, 3, 2, all these. These are lesser. In between, these are important with the highest rating of iron. This is what is written. So, this I discussed. Now, conclusions. Force is attractive and sufficiently strong to produce binding energy. Short-ranged force, heavy nucleus. They have lower binding energy. This also I have told. And for the light nuclei, they join to form the heavy nucleus. Okay. Two light nuclei join to form a big heavy nucleus. Binding energy per nucleon of the fused heavier nuclei is more than binding energy per nucleon of the lighter nuclei. This means that final system is more lightly bound than initial system. Energy would be released in the process of fusion. This I have told you that when it is splitting, whatever energy was holding the nucleus now is being released. So till here only class don't do the pages that are written after that. Otherwise you will be doing the radioactivity part and everything, and that will just waste your time. Just last question for today's class. After this, I'll end the class. Binding energy, just one question, how to calculate the binding energy. So in this, calcium is given with its mass and atomic number, mass of neutron, the mass of proton, and the mass of the nucleus. The mass of the nucleus is mentioned. All these things are mentioned. It can happen, these two are not mentioned. Now the first step I told you is calculate ZMP, means number of protons, 20, into mass of protons, 1.00785. So when you will calculate it, this will be 20.1565. This I have kept calculated. You have to calculate it because these rounding off and the significant figures picking up is not valid here. Then A minus Z MP means A minus Z will be 40 minus 20. This will be 40 minus 20, that is again 20, into the mass of neutron, that is 1.008665. So this is 20.1733. 20.1733. So what was the step I told you? First add these two. That is 8. This is 9. 213.04. So what have we done till now? We have added these two, that is ZMP plus A minus Z Mn. We have done this. Yes, A minus Z Mn, correct. Now the first two we have done. And what do we do now? We subtract it from the mass of the nucleus. We subtract it from the mass of the nucleus. A minus Z MP. Oh, okay. Yeah. Thank you, Mn. It is Mn. Neutron, mass of neutron. I just wrote it by mistake. Yeah. Now you have to subtract it by 8. It is 39.962589. So this is 39.962589. Okay. So when you subtract this, you get a very small answer. That is your actual mass defect. It is 0.367. Okay. So what have we done? What is this delta M? How have we obtained it? See, now have we got our mass defect? ZMP plus A minus Z Mn. We did it till here. And then we subtract it with mass of the nucleus. For the binding energy per nucleon, I have told you, binding energy per nucleon, you have to take the mass defect, multiply it with 931. Here the nucleon's mass A is 40, this much of mega electron volt. So when you will write, the answer will be 8.541925, this much of mega electron volt per the nucleon. So like this, you have to solve the questions of nuclei. Please write down this because this question is nowhere. Just write it and text me done. Class, on Saturday morning, are you all available? Just to end the syllabus because now only semiconductors is left.
Yes, ma'am.
So suggest a time in the morning when you all can have the class. 11 o'clock for you?
Ma'am, yes, sir.
Yes, Khadija?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, KSA.
Yeah,
Or
it's
you
fine.
suggest any time. You all suggest any time when you will attend the class. If you're unavailable, then and you don't want to take the class in the morning or anything, just tell me on for Saturday, not tomorrow. Tomorrow is Friday, no, Saturday. In the morning, suggest a time so that on 28th we are finishing with the syllabus at least. KSA
We
time
have class from 6:30 to 8, that's it. Other than that, it's fine.
you have class from 6:30
6:30 to 8, yeah.
in the
Other than that,
evening,
it's
no?
fine. Yeah.
Okay, before that you all are free. Yeah, so in the morning I'm saying.
Well, any time is fine for me.
Any time is fine. Taha, you suggest a time, Taha? Khadija and Rishita are fine with all the time. You will be joining, no, the class then. Then only I'll put the class so that your syllabus. 10 a.m. KSA, Taha? Yeah, so it's fine. 10 a.m. KSA means 11, 12:30 for me. 12:30 IST. Okay. So for semiconductors also, I'll share a PDF of notes. So notes will be there, the understanding part and the numericals part I'll be covering in the class because that is also a short chapter now. The most of the portions of transistors and everything have been deleted. So that is also very less. PN junction, we have to do. Zener diode is also not there. PN junction rectifiers, this is what we have to do. So we'll have the class in the morning, 10 a.m. KSA. Please join. We'll finish with the semiconductor. So at least by Saturday or syllabus will be over. Yes, the properties of nuclear forces just do that.